you were in the Netflix documentary One of Us. And at what point did you meet up with the documentary crew that was following you during this process? Or how did you meet them, I should ask?
I think I was 17 or 18, and oh, well, through a mutual friend. They reached out to a mutual friend and they were looking for a variety of stories. So they wanted to show that everyone is leaving on their own path. You know, that there's no one path that we go on. So they wanted a variety of stories. So they reached out to a mutual friend, and he happened to recommend me because that's when I was, announcing that I was leaving the community.
And what was the experience of being a part of that film like?
To be honest, much of the experience is somewhat in a blur because I was high a lot of the time. Not that nothing bad for the film crew. They didn't do it to me. That was my choice at the time. Um, but it kind of gave me a purpose in a way because I was like
Hmm.
at the time you gotta understand I was very depressed. I was actively using hard drugs and I didn't really care about my life as much. It was more I was kind of just living, existing, and having the opportunity to share my story that will hopefully help someone one day was kind of like a okay, I have a reason to get out of bed today.
What was the reaction that you got from the various people in your life to being in a documentary and having your story out there in such a public way?
Good question. I'm glad you asked that. That was a wonderful experience because I don't know if you've heard the term before. The trash is taking itself out. Have you heard that term before?
I haven't, but I think I
Um,
understand the
there's
concept.
probably different versions. There's probably different versions of this term in different languages. It was basically everybody who was afraid of a camera left my life, and that's okay because I don't like if you're afraid of a camera, it's most likely because you're very traumatized by that or basically a certain kind of person that I left, a certain type of person that I went away from.
I think I had a similar experience making a documentary. Is that anyone who wasn't aligned to who I was and was trying to be just kind of like left the scene. Um, so
Yeah, I noticed I once walked up to two people on the street that I knew, and they asked me, like, they started walking away from me, and I was like, I asked them why. So, like, is there a camera here? Like, so I was like, okay, if you're afraid of a camera, then just go.
it's good to put your values out there because you start attracting the people who are right for you and getting rid of those that aren't. So I
Right.
appreciate you being willing to do that and share your story.
I mean, I just wanted to say that Hasidic Judaism, that there's a couple of things that the film didn't really finish on because
Sure.
after all it was a 90-minute film after all, and they can't fit everything in because the story is
Yeah,
way too complex for even
I'm
100
familiar with that
hours.
challenge.
Yeah, you gotta fit in whatever you can. So one thing they didn't finish on was my sobriety, and I'm actually gonna reveal something on the show on
Oh,
this podcast. I've been clean for more than 4 years from narcotics, but I have started smoking weed again after a few years of being clean from narcotics, and it's been a huge help.
well, congrats on staying clean and finding what works for you.
And another thing that the film didn't really finish on was how Hasidic Judaism is constantly evolving, and
Hmm.
that's why, like I said, I'm sticking around for the show. So I'm excited to see where Hasidic Judaism is gonna go. The
Cool.
the the hatred towards it has changed to curiosity now.
Curiosity is a good place to be. Thank you for listening. If you like this clip, please subscribe and share the show with someone else who would also like it. You can find the Brendon Marotta Show on all major podcast platforms and at brendonmarotta.com/show. Thanks again for listening, and I hope to share more with you in the future.